Okay.
Well, let's get started.
Okay. It looks like, hold on, let me clear.
We don't have a quorum, do we?
We do not, but if we get 2 more that join throughout the course, I will let you know and we can go back and reestablish.
Right, we can jump back pretty quick. We haven't had a quorum the last 2 meetings, and I understand why. It's hard to get fired up when we're waiting patiently on our friends at CMS. So let's go ahead. I know we have Adrian Bush, Van Ingram, Kevin Sharkey, Angela Darcy, and myself. I guess, Angela, this is your last meeting. It's unfortunate, but we hope Jason Reynolds will be joining us.
He will.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for being here. Any DMS updates?
Yes. So we are still in monthly talks with CMS. No yes or no yet. So they are still working on, CMS is still working on their processes on their end. And our next meeting is next Thursday with CMS. So we're just continuing to keep our fingers crossed. Current Medicaid data, there's 1.7 million, which is an increase of like 17,000 from our last meeting in November. Total Medicaid population incarcerated is 20,046, which is just a five increase from November. And it continues to look like that we are able to get benefits reinstated. It's gone up a little bit, so within 5 days, and we're continuing to following that. And we continue to have providers that contact me about needing assistance with their incarceration dates due to the sorry, I'm not really good in storms. Now I can't think of the word that the system we've put into place to talk with the Medicaid eligibility system. So when someone else is they're incarcerated or released, it automatically talks. I cannot think of that word to save my life this morning.
Interfaces, maybe?
Yes, it starts
with an A.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
A princess. There you go.
Apris. Yes.
Apris.
Yes.
Apris. All right.
Thank you. I am so
Rachel.
sorry. So that continues to happen. And sometimes when the data comes from Apris, it kind of erases data. OATS is still looking at that. But if you have anybody that contacts you that has that issue, just have them email me and we get that started. And it takes basically about 24 hours to get that redone. And then the provider can once again bill again. So if I've confused everybody, I apologize. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, I was on a call yesterday. You know, the CMHCs have monthly calls with 5 of the 6 MCOs.
Uh-huh.
And an issue, I mean, we've discussed this issue the last couple of meetings, and I shared it, maybe 3 meetings. I shared it before, it's still a concern. One issue that people are now encountering are those folks who are incarcerated on the weekend.
Okay.
Like they show up on Friday, and they're incarcerated through Monday morning, and then they can go to work and go home. And there's always the call yesterday, that was the target of most of the concerns by the MCO and by a provider as well, that it's just doesn't make any sense. You know, someone referred to these as, weekend inmates, and then I guess somehow the system logs them in and doesn't log them out or something. I don't know. And I don't know if that's something Angela's shaking her head. She must have heard about this.
It's supposed to be, if they're incarcerated under 48 hours, it's not supposed to change, but it sounds like that is happening. Okay.
Yeah, and if it's Friday night to Monday morning.
Yeah. I think and I'm the executive officer from pretrial, and just my understanding from some communications with people that were in custody, it does trigger, they lose their Medicaid, and then there's some kind of delay there, is my understanding.
Okay. And right. So
That's
when the
Friday
person
to
is
Monday people, Darcy?
Yeah,
Yeah, they have to call they have to call DCBS and tell them that they're released for them. And I think that's the issue that we're having. And then of course,
Mhm.
then on weekends, okay.
so we're trying to spread that word throughout pretrial, to let our pretrial service specialists, when they talk to the people that are picked up, that they need to call
Mhm.
if they're on Medicaid, they need to call Medicaid immediately to let them know that they were released. But since it's on the weekend, there's also difficulties, I think, doing that.
Mhm.
So one of the things we're working on, and maybe we can help bridge this gap a little bit, is with Senate Bill 90. We're hoping to get access to Medicaid, the Medicaid system as well. So, and I think we're working on that with drug court as well. So maybe that'll help some. I don't know if it'll help any. I don't know anything about the Medicaid system and the interface that will look like, but
Right.
so can I ask you a question? If
Yes,
they call,
absolutely.
so let's say that they get out on Sunday and they've lost those Medicaid benefits, how soon between the period that they call and the period that they how soon do they get
Okay.
signed back up?
So if let's say they're released Sunday night and they don't call till Tuesday, benefits get reinstated as of Sunday. It goes back to the release date.
Okay.
Okay.
And then my next question is there a way that we can get that phone number so we can give that to them, and maybe we can start partnering with the jails and see if the jails can give that to them upon release?
Okay, I can get that phone number and
It's
then
on right now. It's in the comments,
Ah,
855.
great. Okay.
Ah,
Also, Courtney Ham raised the question that the eligibility may happen, but how long will it report that on the MMIS system?
so once they call and get it on, and you're asking about, so it takes some time for the systems to talk to each other to get activated.
Yeah, I think my issue with that is that, you know, we're dealing with people who might be going back to outpatient, right? They might be going back to getting SUD, you know, services. And so just making sure that bridge, or at least it's communicated in some way to the person through pretrial or however it looks.
Mhm.
So they know that they can still go to maybe their outpatient on Monday, right? Without a fear of, you know, someone checking their Medicaid and they can't go, right? Because that's the fear, right? Even if they're going to the jail, maybe for weekend stuff, you know, we're probably looking at misdemeanor stuff, right? And there might be something else going on, right? So mental health, substance use disorder stuff still needs to be in place. And that's what I worry about, the disruption happening. Even though it does jump back to that Sunday, exactly like Leanne said, it's the what's happening in the present moment that is the issue.
Okay, so as long as the individual can, you know, can tell the provider, hey, I was released on this date and have that date. There, like you said, it does take time for that to get on to show back up in the system. But yeah, they should not worry about being seen the next day. And there is also a process in place for the provider, that if there's a map form that they can fill out and send in, that they were released yesterday, they were seen in the office today, and their Medicaid benefits are not on.
Okay. That's helpful, because that'll make a big impact on Senate Bill 90 and how providers are paid.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, if they were to look to see if they had eligibility on Monday, it would probably show that it wasn't there, but that should kind of flag the provider's mind. No, well, he said he got out or she got out on Sunday, then I just need to wait a couple of days before I check eligibility.
Angela, can you give us a brief summary of Senate Bill 90? Because it does impact the work of this TAC.
Sure. So right now, where we're at with Senate Bill 90 is it was scheduled to be implemented on January 1st, but due to a funding issue, like my understanding is BHCID didn't get the money over. So we didn't have we weren't able to fully begin implementation in Letcher and Kenton County. That those were supposed to be the first ones that we rolled out on. And we did kind of do a soft rollout in Letcher County. So right now we are implementing the bill in Letcher County. We don't have any funding. So we're hoping that most of those defendants will be Medicaid eligible. And that's a really good information piece for me that I just learned. So that will be helpful. We've only had about, I want to say, as of Wednesday, we only had 30 people eligible for Senate Bill 90. So in pretrial services, we have started doing the eligibility screener on all defendants in 11 counties because we think it's important, even though we're not starting in those counties, we thought it was important to go ahead and track. And so we've been tracking, and as of Wednesday, we had 30 individuals that were eligible. Now that's not a lot of people, but in the beginning of January, it's slow. Crime doesn't pick up until typically about the beginning of February. So we
Super Bowl
expected that would
time.
be slow. Yeah.
On Super Bowl, right?
It's Super Bowl, Valentine's Day. That's when you start seeing some of those low level crimes like theft by unlawful taking and
Yes.
stuff like that. So
Senate Bill 90 was passed last session, so you can go to the website, the LRC website, to the 2022 session and click on Senate Bill 90 to get, the actual text of the bill. The intent is really to get those folks, as Angela said, out of the criminal justice system and into treatment. And if they participate down and dirty in treatment as recommended and do, follow it, they actually won't have any record of those charges, right, Angela?
yes, that's correct.
So, the goal really is to have these folks who, as I've said before, there's no future in having a criminal record. So get these people out of that system as quickly as we can and into treatment, and use that opportunity of not having that record anymore as kind of a reason to remain engaged in treatment and follow through and complete that treatment program.
So in Courtney, just to answer your question, I have a PowerPoint presentation that we can send you, and I'll be happy to send that to everybody on this committee. Once we get off this call, I'll get it from Jason Reynolds. But there is an eligibility factor. So they have to be a Kentucky resident. They have to be 18 years of age or older. They have to be a low level on our pretrial risk assessment for failure to appear. There has to be a low risk for failure to appear, and a low risk of committing new criminal activity. So if we have low on both of those scales, then they're deemed eligible for the program. And then we have a bunch of qualifying offenses that we have to go through on the list to determine if the offense is eligible as well. If the offense isn't eligible, then the only way that they can get into the program is if there's a prosecutorial override. My understanding is that a lot of these prosecutors are very eager in these counties to do this program. So I expect that there will probably be a higher rate of prosecutorial overrides. I know in Letcher County, they're very willing to do a prosecutorial override. Some of the people that have come across in Letcher County are just doozies. And there's no, it would be too much, obviously, to do a prosecutor override on a moderate and high risk defendant who, has a huge criminal history. So we haven't found anybody in Letcher yet that comes close. But we do an eligibility screener with pretrial. We then make the referral to get them assessed to see if they qualify with a mental health disorder or substance use disorder. If they do, then we send that to the prosecutor and the defense attorney, and then they decide if the defendant is eligible and will enter into the behavioral health conditional dismissal program. If they complete it, their charges are dismissed. And it has the promises of being a really great program that can hopefully impact Kentucky and defendants in the system. And this is the hope to get them treatment on the front end versus going through the whole criminal justice system, pleading guilty, and then getting treatment on the back end.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just needed a little bit more information and I'm sure I heard about it, but then of course it got lost in my brain somewhere. So thank you for that. And it does sound like it has a lot of potential to be, just a really great program. And I love that you all are in the middle of that. So great job.
And they have some scheduled meetings, kind of the coordinating group, and those are open to the public, right? I mean, so if you want to go to those, you can, Courtney, and just see what's happening.
Yeah. Yep, they are open to the public. I'll let
And
you know.
probably
in the next-
virtual as well, right?
Yeah, they are. There's a virtual component, and they are, I think the next implementation council is probably going to be scheduled in February, but we also have the community meetings that we've been doing. We have one scheduled, I believe, on February 2nd in McCracken County. That's our next meeting.
Yeah. Being rolled
And I-
out in 11 counties initially, so it's not statewide, it's a pilot in those 11 counties.
Correct. At the end of the study, so it's a 4-year pilot, and at the end of the study, they really want to see the viability of the program. We have a huge data reporting requirement with this. So an AOC is tasked with gathering all that data, which is not something that we're used to. We're used to doing our own data, but we're not used to taking other agencies' data. So we are working on building a platform right now to interface with the providers and Medicaid and BHDID so we can track that data. Prosecutors have the requirements, providers have the requirements, and pretrial has the requirement to determine who's eligible. So once we, and it'll really be our goal is, because with pretrial services, we have a lot on the line. We're getting ready to get case navigators, which the case navigators are going to help the defendant through the process and help with the case managers to coordinate services. So we're really excited about it because our goal is for it to be successful. So we're pretty excited about that.
Thank you, Angela.
Steve, I don't know if you saw in the chat, but you do
Yeah, we have
have
a
a quorum now.
quorum. We're going to move quickly to adopt minutes so we can procedurally do that. And I sent them out, and what I send out is a summary, and we get the text of the minutes, but that's what I report to the MAC, and that meeting is coming up. I guess whenever I had it written down someplace, but and you can watch the MAC online as Worthwhile Medicaid Advisory Council. And so the summary is what I report back. So if members can take action on, and I would entertain a motion, and I'm okay if you roll it into a single motion for both minutes.
Yeah, Steve, I move that we approve the minutes from the September and November meetings in 2022.
And do we have a second?
Do our voting
second
members
that.
have their camera on?
Yeah, you gotta
I'll
have your
second.
camera on to be a real person.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Angela. All right, all members, signify by saying aye if you support the motion.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and
Aye.
abstentions.
Aye.
All right, we got procedurally done, the minutes. Thank you for that, appreciate it. I'm glad we have a quorum. Anything else from DMS? I think that's it, right? Leanne?
Yes, sir. That's all I have.
Super, thank you. Any MCO updates? And if not, that's okay.
Hi, Steve. This is Kelly from Humana. I just wanted to give kind of a brief update today on our kind of program that we're doing with reentry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you mind if I share my screen really fast? We also want to talk a little bit about our value-added benefits that might really
Yeah.
benefit members returning to society. So,
Yeah.
okay.
You should now be a co-host, Kelly.
Okay, thank you. Hey, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So this is just going to be a really brief. Like I said, I just want to give a brief update on our reentry program. I kind of talked about this in the last couple of TACs, but we still have pretty low referrals to this program. In Q4, we received 9 referrals from our members that were reentering society. We have about a 33% engagement rate with these members. Obviously, we would really like to have a 100% engagement rate. That's really what we strive for, because we really want to do whatever we can to help these members and in whatever capacity we can. And I feel like we do have a lot of resources that we can help benefit them with. Some of what we're seeing as barriers to engagement continue to be, we have some members that are being released and go right to sober living, and they don't have like a personal phone, which we can definitely help them get, but it's really difficult to reach them. We only have the number to the facility, and it's really difficult to reach them when we contact the facilities. They're often not there, and it's just really hard to connect with them. Another barrier we're seeing is we're still having some difficulty reaching the reentry coordinators and parole officers. And that would be really helpful for those members that, that don't have their own phone, that we can't really contact individually, just to be able to maybe coordinate with them and get connected maybe with the member through them. That would be really helpful for all of us, I think, together, if we can really have those collaborations working together. And when we do reach the members, another kind of barrier we're running into is that some of these members, there's some trust issues there, right? They don't understand why their MCO is calling them. We have to verify, date of birth, phone number. So we're asking some personal questions on the front end. So I think them having a really good understanding before release of that we will be calling, what our purpose is, and how we can help them. Like, we're really trying to partner with them and really trying to get them connected with whatever we can to help support them while they're transitioning back to the community. So
Kelly, this is Van Ingram. If you would email me, it's van.ingram@ky.gov.
Okay.
And we'll get a conversation with the Department of Corrections and see if we can increase the availability of the reentry coordinators and parole officers.
That would be great, Van. I really appreciate that. So I will email you after this meeting. So
Thank you. Thank you.
One last thing I want to do, we had a really kind of weird incident happen. This was something that I never had seen this before, but it occurred in December, where we had a member that was released in December, and we got the referral around December 9th, and we're finally able to make contact with this member kind of towards the end of December. But this member was highly motivated and ready, like wanted all these types of connections. We were able to get her set up with a lot of different services. And then when we tried to make contact in January, the 1st of January, we realized that her eligibility with us had turned. So she really only had eligibility with us from December 1st through December 30th. So we reached out to all of our reentry partners, and right away, everyone was amazing trying to help us get this figured out. So I just really wanted to give a special shout out to Jadina Todd with DCBS, because she worked really hard to get this figured out for this member and got everything right back on track for her. So it kind of worked the way it was supposed to. So I wanted to really point that out, and thank you for all that support that we got on this individual. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jeff Hadley, and he's just going to go over some value-added benefits that we have that could help our members returning to society.
Yep, thanks, Kelly. Yeah, we wanted to highlight, just as Kelly said, those value-added benefits that we provide for our Medicaid enrollees that we think would have some value and be noteworthy for this TAC. Criminal expungement, obviously we have assistance and reimbursement for fees related to criminal expungement services. A free cell phone that's available for Medicaid members. Post-discharge meals, if folks are being discharged from a inpatient or residential treatment facility or hospital, we offer a series of meals delivered to the home. For individuals with diabetes, there's a smartphone app that assists with diabetes management, as well as a providing some remote monitoring devices like blood pressure cuffs, weight scales for those individuals whose diagnoses or medical conditions would require monitoring for those measures. We also have nicotine replacement therapy and coaching that we provide for tobacco cessation, and our doula services for individuals that are coming out that are pregnant and need maternal assistance with maternal care. We have doulas available that do a host of prenatal visits with the expectant mother in advance of the delivery, as well as assisting with the delivery and post natal visits as well. And then our workforce development program, we provide assistance, job coaching, and assistance with preparation for the workforce, as well as childcare assistance related to job searches. And we have our Humana Beginnings, basically, is our maternal care assistance, where we provide a lot of coaching and oversight and support services for individuals that are expectant mothers. And then after delivery, we offer a crib and car seat as part of that program. And in addition to that, we have quite a few smartphone apps that help with, for instance, our Pacify app will help provide 24/7 coaching and support to individuals related to lactation, breastfeeding, and newborn and infant care. And then our GED, I think I skipped over our GED Works program. That program is really a great benefit because it provides coaching and prep for the GED, and there is a test pass guarantee. So individuals in that program can keep taking the GED with our support services until they pass. And then we also have a host of healthy behavior rewards. So basically incentives, monetary incentives, around childcare assistance, or I'm sorry, around our weight management and screenings, a host of screenings, cervical cancer screenings, breast cancer screenings, health risk assessments, and other things that would help our members promote healthy behaviors. All right, thanks for your attention. Any questions about that?
The expungement, so it's expenses are reimbursed.
Yes, $340 up to $340 for expungement fees. We would
Okay.
reimburse the member.
I have a question. And just because I've just always been intrigued by the expungement fees, and I know that they can be really expensive, but how does that reimbursement work? And I guess my question would be, why not just reimburse the attorneys, right, and take it off the members' back? And just because I've been thinking about this, because expungement stuff comes up all the time and it's really important.
Right.
But I'm just curious if you all have approached attorneys in that way and seen if there's a different way to do it, because reimbursement with Medicaid members can be it can be a long process.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we have been looking into that, ways that we can enhance and make the expungement process a little more user friendly for our members. So we don't currently pay the attorneys directly. You have to have a certificate of expungement in order to be reimbursed. But that's great feedback, and we do realize that is a barrier to utilizing that reward.
Yeah.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah. Jeff, I was thinking the same thing. It's great you're doing it. It's wonderful. But for some Medicaid folks, $340 might as well be $100,000, right?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. But got to start somewhere, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Yep. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
And Kelly, I dropped my email in the chat to you. So if you can make sure to email that to me so I can send it out to the TAC members, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, yes, no problem. Thanks. I'm gonna stop sharing now.
All right. Thanks, Kelly. Another MCO? Anybody? What about Anthem? Are you on?
Hi, Steve. This is David Crowley, Director of
David.
Behavioral Health from Anthem.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to Kelly's point, our volume continues to be relatively low for our reentry return to the community folks. We've had one member since our last TAC meeting. And we continue to try to engage those members with our dedicated case management program, try to get them squared away with all their community needs and resources and whatever treatment recommendations might come the way once they are discharged from incarceration. And like Kelly mentioned, we do have a lot of those criminal expungement, GED training, return to workforce training, fresh fruits and veggies program, as well as our empowerment team that works to try to remove the social determinants of health barriers for folks that are returned to the community, with whether it be rental arrears or utility arrears, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, our volume continues to be relatively low.
Okay. Well, hopefully 11:15 changes that, right?
Right. That's the overall goal and intention. Looking forward to that opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, David. What about Aetna? Are you on?
Yeah, hey, that's me, Courtney.
Well, of
And
course it is.
I
I'm
have
sorry, Courtney.
no, it's okay. I also have a coworker here who's new, and her name's Joy Varney. So she's joining from Aetna. She's our
Joy Varney.
Yes, Joy Varney. Do you want to introduce yourself, Joy?
Sure. Hi there. My name is Joy Varney. Good to be here. This is my first meeting. I'm the Recovery and Resiliency System of Care Administrator here for Aetna Better Health in Kentucky. And hi, Steve. How you doing?
Good, Joy. How are you? Good to see
I'm
you.
doing well. Thank you.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Joy. We continue to have also really a low referral rate from the prison project, right, with DMS. So we have pretty much we also got one referral, I think, from that project. And really, you know, our barriers are being able to go inside the jails to do that one-on-one. So, you know, our strength with our reentry program is to be on the ground, going into those jails to prepare people for reentry, and also to tell them that we as an MCO are probably going to be calling them. So we continue to have barriers to go into facilities as well as I know families are, you know, having those same barriers as well. So that's our biggest barrier. And we also have a long list of VABs that I can send out. But that's our update for right now.
Thank you, Courtney. What about Passport?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a mic this time around. We are working with some teams of specialists on our end. We have some success stories to report. We recently had a person who'd been incarcerated for 24 years. He moved in with his brother, did not really like that. He started working with our case manager, our housing specialists, and a peer support. He has since received a housing voucher and is actively looking for a place to live. He is making all of his medical appointments, and he has gained at this time about 5 weeks of sobriety at the time that I got this story anyway, and is looking forward to helping others through his story. Otherwise, it's pretty much business as usual, but we really liked this story.
Yeah, 24 years, long time, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Any questions? All right. What about United?
Hi, this is Eric Davis with United, and I brought the success story before Christmas, but I don't have a new one this time around, so really no new updates.
Okay.
And thank you, Courtney. We're doing a lot of the same things. I
And hey,
appreciate your
Steve, this is
presentation.
Stephanie as well on the call. I wanted to just give you some updates on our reentry. Thank you, Eric. I know presented in the last TAC meeting a success story, and really good to hear as well from Aetna on theirs. We are low as well. I think we'd only received one referral last month, zero individuals reincarcerated. To date, year to date, in 2022, we served 59 individuals. And we continue to have the same similar experiences as others that have already reported out on, just with the challenges and barriers to connect with these individuals upon release. We still are actively participating in the pilot that started in January of 2021, which includes the 2 prison systems, the Kentucky State Reformatory and the women's prison. So that's still active and going on, but I don't really see, and I'm newer to this, that's really kind of produced more successful contact. So that is what United has to report out, Steve.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Trying to figure out what's the contact, how do we change that? But seems to be a big barrier for everybody. And we'll continue, I guess. What about WellCare?
Hi, this is Paula with WellCare and Stewart's on as well. We only had 3 referrals fourth quarter and have some difficulty connecting with the member. We do have a new program that we're working towards, and that's to have our cell phones accessible to the care manager real time versus waiting a week or 2 to get the phone to the member. So hopefully we can work with the systems to get that person a cell phone before they even leave or on the day that they leave. So that would be helpful in connecting with them. We also, I think Stuart's going to talk about our value-based information.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. A couple things for 2023 we have, which we did last year as well. We pay for criminal record expungement. I scrambled to find out details, and while we're on the call, and we only pay for the cost of the expungement. So I just want to be clear on that. But we also pay for the state ID, which is also critical for people, being released from incarceration to have ID. If you don't have ID, you can't get a job, you can't do anything. So I guess that was the 2 things I want to mention. Also, and I forgot who it was from Humana. I forgot the name. I thought that was an awesome to hear that situation, by the way. I just wanted to say that too. With the member that's lost eligibility and
yes, thank you. We were very
that
excited that everything worked out the way it did.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
One other thing is that all the health plans have submitted to the state their behavioral health benefits and value added benefits in a side-by-side document. And that should be published soon. The state's asking for some, review of it first before it's released. So just, that.
Yeah, the behavioral health TAC kind of asked for that. I guess we saw that on physical side for value added. So they're replicating that. And we'll share that with this TAC when it's available. So you'll see that. All right, thank you. What about a round robin member updates? Any legislation you want to talk about? Adrian Bush, what about you?
Thanks, Steve. So we are working on, we've got our policy agenda. One thing that I want to highlight for folks is House Bill 21 that helps address that ID issue that was described for people experiencing homelessness. It was filed as House Bill 197 last year, made it through the House, ran out of time in the Senate. And so Representative Randy Bridges from Paducah has filed it again as House Bill 21. So if you're interested in learning more about that, just follow us on social media. We've started our messaging on it. Another priority that we are working on that we don't have a bill number on yet would be eviction expungement. We know that for folks trying to obtain housing, apply for rental housing, if you have an eviction on your record, it is just one more barrier to obtaining a home of your choice. We also know that there's a ton of errors made in the filings, and that also, even if an eviction is dismissed before it actually goes through, it still shows up on someone's record. So we are looking for an automatic expungement process after a certain period of time. And that also, like, if you look at bankruptcies and how those go, those tend to roll off after a certain period of time. We're looking for some parity here. So, and then lastly, we are doing work of trying to get some disaster housing relief money to our disaster impacted counties, which are, pretty much half the state now. So.
Yeah.
Yup. That's all I got.
Thank you. It's a big deal. Appreciate it, Adrian. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Van.
Yeah.
Leanne, could we arrange a call between the MCO representatives here and Sarah Johnson and Kristen Porter at Department of Corrections and see if we can figure out a better mousetrap here to help these folks that are doing the reentry?
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny, a few minutes ago, I just emailed Ann and Leslie and said, I think we need to reinstate the reentry monthly calls. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I think we're on the same
Actually,
page.
was gonna actually suggest that, Leanne, so I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
Yes,
Good deal.
all right.
Good deal. Yesterday, my Recovery Ready Communities Advisory Council approved the rubrics that we've come up with for community, cities, and counties to be certified as recovery ready. There'll be a press release and a rollout of that next week. VOA has been our partner with that project, and it's I think what we've developed together is a really good measure for communities. Not so hard that it's unattainable, but not so easy that it's a rubber stamp. So we're looking forward to rolling that out. Had a good meeting yesterday with Representative Moser on fentanyl test strip language to remove it from the definition of drug paraphernalia. And hopefully we'll get that moving next week as well.
Thank you, Van. It is good work on the recovery ready communities.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Just I've been around a long time. I don't get excited about a lot of things, but I think this is a really good program.
I agree. Anyone else want to share? And I think it impacts the work of this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't mean to be an intruder here. I just want to mention you're probably aware there's a lot of scrutiny on the Department of Juvenile Justice right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Senate resolution to basically take a deep dive into all that and possibly create a work group about basically just some problems apparently with the juveniles, when they're being incarcerated and jailed, and some, I guess, abuse and stuff like that's going on. So that's kind of high profile. There's a resolution right now. It hasn't passed yet, but to look at that.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Stuart.
Sure.
Also, it impacts especially the sober living. That there's draft language. There's a bill floating, not been filed, not even what we have is going to be the final product, that adds some regulatory oversight to sober living houses and some expectations. It's brought by the League of Cities. They may have a role. The city could actually be the one that issues a license or a permit to operate sober living. The initial review I have of it is could restrict access to sober living. We want sober living homes to be as effective and good and quality as possible. There's NAR, National Association of Recovery Residents. There's that standard. So we'll see how that plays out. But if you're interested, email me and I can get you a draft of that bill that we've seen so far. And the folks who sent it to me said, please share it widely. So we can send that out if people are interested. So. Anybody else?
I'm interested in that. So would love to hear more about that. That sounds great.
Okay, Courtney. So we'll send that to you. All right, any future agenda items you want included?
If we could maybe do a report back at next quarter and see if we've been able to improve this reentry thing. I think we need to stay on this.
The accessing benefits and contact stuff, Van?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And maybe get a report back on that call that you talked about, Van?
Yes, sir.
All right. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Anybody else?
And
All right.
Steve, this is Erin. I just
Yeah.
wanted to give a
Gotcha.
friendly reminder to make sure to copy Kelly's sheets on anything MAC and TAC related. Your next meeting is March 9th, and I may or may not be with you guys for that meeting. So I might not
Wanna
catch
tell
you
us
guys
why,
until
Erin?
then. I am expecting, and that's around my due date. So of course, you never know when baby decides when he wants to come into the world. So I might be with you guys. I might not be with you guys. So just a friendly reminder to keep Kelly in the loop. That way, if I'm not with you guys, she has got your agenda and is prepared to run with your March meeting.
Super. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn
So moved.
in a second.
A second.
All right, thank you, Evan. Y'all take care. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
Thank you, you too.
Everybody stay safe in this weather.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.